group of thoughtful and committed individuals can make a difference in the world. Indeed, that's all that ever has. Yes, indeed. Never doubt means always be certain. Always be sure that you are making a difference in the world. And it's, I would love to say that, now is the best time in history, like all the things that are happening in the world right now make it even more important that we understand this idea that we make a difference in the world, but that's not really true. It's never more important than any other time. It's always important to remember who you are, regardless of what it looks like. Because what it looks like is just my judgment about the way things are supposed to be. And I know growing up I had some friends that never used the word supposed to. They would say posta. And it was like, it ain't supposed to be like this, it ain't supposed to be like that. And you want to get posta out of your mouth. Get supposed to be out of your consciousness. Because the idea that there's a way that...
Sorry, I'll take you off.
Oh my goodness, oh, that's wonderful, wonderful. No, thank you, because
There you
I
go.
was off there. So all this idea about the way things are supposed to be is the reason there's angst in the world. There's angst in the world because we've set it upon ourselves to understand that we absolutely know exactly how the universe is supposed to be ordered, exactly how the universe is supposed to be balanced. There's that supposed to again, that this is the best way for it to happen. And with
Sorry.
okay. You ain't nothing but give me something to play with up here now. Okay. Whoa. And he dropped the mic. And that was the end of that. Okay, so I'm going to try it like this because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to keep standing in one place. Okay, so good morning again.
Good morning.
Started first. Thank you very much. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed individuals can make a difference in the world. Indeed, that's all that ever has. We are that small group of thoughtful and committed individuals, and right now is the only time that we have. The only time that exists is right now. So if you hear somebody talking about now is the time, that is true. Now is always the time. And so it doesn't really matter what the political climate is. It doesn't really matter what's going on in our personal lives. Now is always the time. As a matter of fact, there's only one time that we actually have, and that's right now. We don't have what happened. I like to say this maybe. I like to think about Fred Wilson he had a character named Reverend Leroy. And Reverend Leroy was a minister of the Church of What's Happening Now.
You remember that.
Thank you very much. And the Church of What's Happening Now, thank you, Reverend Leroy would say, because I'm not going to tell you what happened yesterday. I'm not going to tell you what happened tomorrow. No, when you come to this church, I'm telling you what's happening now. For people, it's always happening now. This is it. We're in the church of what's happening now. Okay? There's no other time for us to be any place except right now. And when we get it, what Eckhart Tolle made that beautiful book, it created a whole new consciousness with the understanding that there's a power in the moment of now. Because in the moment of now is where everything happens. It's the moment of now where everything happens. What am I saying? That's right. Everything is happening right now. Nothing happened already. Because everything that we think happened already, the only reason it has any relevance is because we are remembering it right now. If we don't remember it, it has no relevance to what we're going on right now. The same thing in the future. So we're talking about the journey of self-awareness today. This whole month we're talking about the journey. And this idea of a journey could be confusing because I'm not talking about going on a physical trip or a vacation or something of that nature. The journey is always the exercise, the activities, and the choices we make to reveal or discover our inner unity, our inner wholeness. And so there's this idea of a cosmology that's seamless and integrated throughout all creation. Oftentimes we like to call it God. Some people call it the universe, absolute mind, nature, love. All these different ideas are used to describe this idea of a cosmic whole. And in the cosmic whole, we are one within the cosmic whole. Now, the activity it takes, and this is something that Dr. Holmes talks about when we talk about spiritual mind treatment, or what we call prayer. He says there's no Be still. I'm just going to paraphrase what I'm giving. There's no activity. There's no activity of healing, but there's an activity in healing. Is that the right way? Is that how it goes? Somebody help me with this. You know that, Angela?
There's no process.
That's
of
the one
healing.
I'm looking for. There's no process of healing, but there's a process in healing. There's external hard drive, people. You got to learn how to use that. And so it's just true. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because somebody's going to know the answer. And if you make yourself available to the answer, then it becomes possible for you to have that. And so the idea that we are supposed to know everything, and this is one of those things, I'll be honest, as a male growing up, you have this thing, we don't ask directions ever. It's just not something that we do. And so this idea that there's a process of healing, there's a process in healing, but not of healing. And so what Dr. Holmes is trying to get us to understand is that there's nothing that needs to happen before the healing occurs. That would be the process of healing. Oh, first if this happens, that happens, and that. But the process in healing is the activity and the time it takes us to have the full realization of what perfection looks like, of what wholeness looks like. And sometimes that takes a while. Sometimes what we're praying about is so scary and so gnarly, and it's plugging in all our little primal buttons that we don't easily just accept the truth as it is. We know that God is all there is. We understand that there's a oneness and a seamless integration in the universe. We recognize that right where we are, and just as we are, the power and the presence of God is, and that everything is God expressing. But sometimes we just don't like the way God's expressing. Sometimes God's doing it wrong. It's not supposed to be that way. One good fix for it, and we're talking about the journey of awakening, and so the journey, here's one. I'm going to be talking about different tools to help us on the path to help us to awaken. And one of them I talked about already, getting rid of supposed to. Okay, supposed to stems from the idea that I know the way things are to be. But if we can just let go of the way things are supposed to be and accept the fact that there's something called this is the way it could be. It could be like this. It could be like that. And change what we think is supposed to happen into the infinite possibility of what can happen. Because supposed to is the recognition that it's not happening the way we want in this moment. And the only thing that's going to change what's happening in what we want in this moment is not us adjusting the dial on our television set to get a clearer picture of what's being projected from within ourselves. It requires us to recognize in the moment that the divine perfection is flowing through me right now, and I am always in charge. Now, we say this every week about being in charge, the divine perfection is within us, but it's something we want to go to at least weekly, because it replenishes and re-energizes ourselves in the idea of who we are. And who we are is pure potentiality manifested as a singularity within a cosmic whole from which everything and by which everything is integrated as one. We have the ability to act as a seeming independent agent, yet everything that we do affects somebody else, and everything that everybody else is doing is affecting us. And when we get this idea that there's a unity in the universe, there's a unity as a universe, we are opening ourselves to the divine realization that we ourselves are one with the whole. Now this is critical. This is critical because if we can't understand that we're one with the whole, we will continue to splinter ourselves into different factions of right and wrong and up and down and hot and cold, and we'll keep trying to pick a winner in a race that is not even being run, in a contest that's not even being fought. But we're convinced that it is, and so we're looking for the best way to do everything. And let me tell you right now, the best way to do everything is get started right now. That's the best way to do everything. Begin right now. Even if it's, Dr. Holmes talked about how there's an involution involved in every evolution. I love it. It was a little confusing at first, but I kind of get it. The involution of things. And this is part of this journey. We recognize that everything that is evolving began as an involuted idea. The involution is the idea of the thing in its divine perfection. And everything that we're manifesting began as an idea of perfection. And so before that thing can evolve, we have to involve ourselves in the idea of perfection. Are you with me? I know I'm talking kind of fast. And this is how it's coming to me. This idea of perfection is not separate from who we are. We have to be still and recognize the perfection that we have. I'm going to go to our magic mirror here. And So, the journey is the life experience by which we arrive at, thank you very much, the conscious unity. The journey is the life experience by which we arrive at the consciousness of unity. It's not a destination. It's not a place we're trying to get to. It's an understanding we want to have. And so this idea that it's the life experience means that your journey is always happening. You're on your journey right now. When you're going through your hardest time, that's part of your journey. Sometimes the journey takes you down a dark street. And you have to know the truth about yourself on a dark street, just like you do on a street that's well lit. That's the point we're making. The journey is your life experience. Everywhere you are, right here, and right where?
Now.
Thank you very much. I said right where, but I wanted to say when, but I didn't want to tip you off. Oh, boy. Perfection is a state of acceptance that everything is divine order. It's not a snapshot of perfection. It's the recognition that as life moves through my life, as things evolve, the perfection is always there. The rose is perfect as a seed, perfect as it germinates, perfect as the shoots break the surface of the water. It's perfect, the earth. It's perfect as it stretches towards the heaven. It's perfect as it sends roots into the ground. It's perfect as the thorns form. It's perfect as it creates a bud. It's perfect as the bud opens. It's perfect as the insects that pollinate the universe take all the pollen they want and the nectar out of it, and as it closes and goes to seed, it's all perfect. And so we recognize, once again, the process of healing is the realization that everything, right where it is something we like to call whole, perfect, and complete. Whole, perfect, and complete. Together. Whole, perfect, and complete. Again. Whole, perfect, and complete. Because we are whole, perfect, and complete. When we say whole, whole means all of it is present all the time. If we're one with God, and we know that we're one with God, then we also know, a little parched here, we also know if we're one with God and God is all there is, God is all there is, and God is omnipresent. And this is the idea we're looking at. If you don't like the word God, the universe, the absolute mind is omnipresent. It's everywhere present at the same time. Dr. Holmes tells us that that life itself, spirit itself, is an undivided whole. And if it's undivided, that means there's no separation. If it's undivided, that means every part of it is always present everywhere at the same time. And what that means is wherever I find myself, right there, right then, God is. Now, it's simple. It's easy to say that, but when I say that right where I am, God is, that means all of the potential of the universe, the divine cosmos, the order of all things, the absolute mind is always present right here, right now, within me. And that means it's always present right here and right now within each and every one of us. And what that means is at any given moment, there's nothing in the universe more powerful than you are, no more powerful than I am. And if I'm having a difficulty, if I'm having a problem, if there's something going on in my life that's not what I claim, what I want, then I make sure that I understand there's nothing that I can do to fix the condition itself as much as I need to involve myself in the evolution of a perfect idea in my mind. I must involve myself with the idea of a perfect idea in my mind. As I do this, I'm able to create that perfect idea outside of myself. Largely because I also recognize there's no such thing as outside of myself. Because in an undivided whole, there's no pieces, there's no parts. It's all part of the same thing. We're all part of the cosmic soup. We all make the whole what it is. The knee bone's connected to the thigh bone. The thigh bone's connected to the hip bone. It's all, some of us remember that song, see? Others are like, what's he talking about? What's he talking about? It's all connected. But connected is not even an accurate term because connected indicates that they're separate things that we're putting together to make a whole. And what I'm saying is there's no separation in the universe. There's a divine harmony and you are it. The point you are right now, whatever going on in your life, you are a walking, talking, living, breathing representation of perfection. I like being a representation of perfection myself. It keeps me going. I teach a foundational class one of my students was talking about how people talk bad about you and how you can remember the truth and remember the truth and remember the truth, and then finally you just don't feel like you remember the truth anymore. You know, and you snap and you go off, and then you go, okay, I shouldn't have done that. You know, and you say, okay. And she's talking about how, you know, they can call you ugly, they can call you these names, they can do all these things, but when you know that you're the absolute perfection of the divine, then it doesn't really matter what anybody's saying, because you realize all they're really doing is talking about themselves.